Hi, guys. It's Heather Morrison with Bold Beyond Belief, right over there. And I want to welcome you to Monday. Today's Monday, February 21st. It is President's Day. So if that is something that you celebrate, happy President's Day. If not, just have a plain old happy Monday. I wanted to talk to you today about the 5 habits that I do every single day that have changed my life. I am joining you today with StreamYard. So if you have not yet before, you'll need to give permission to StreamYard to show your name. Otherwise, when you leave a comment, it'll just say a user has left a comment. So I'd really love to know who's left that comment. So if you could, you can just grant StreamYard permission to use your name. There should be a link down below in the video to do that. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'd love to know when you're joining me today, who you are and where you're joining me from and how you found me. I'm always curious as to how people come across me. So I'd love to know that as well. So number 1 in our habits, get curious. Get curious. Get curious about yourself and get curious about other people. So how do you get curious about yourself? That's an interesting question, right? Getting curious about yourself is instead of thinking a thought and just leaving it there, get curious about why you're having that thought. For example, when you do something that you admonish yourself for, I was talking to a client this morning. She said she was having a hard time deciding between colors for a binder that she was buying. Right? Should she get it in this color or should she get it in black? And she was admonishing herself, oh, you're so stupid. Why can't you ever make a decision, et cetera, et cetera. Instead of doing that, I encouraged her, that's the word, encouraged her to get curious about why she has that thought about herself. So do a little flow chart for yourself in your head. When you start thinking thoughts, why am I thinking that thought? Okay, well, the people in her life had told her, they had their opinions as to what color she should buy. Oh, okay, right? So that's why she was having that thought. Should she be buying a binder based on what other people are asking her to do? Or should she be buying a binder on what lights her heart up, right? What makes her feel good every time she looks at it? So she realized, oh, I'm wanting to buy that particular color because of what other people have expressed to me is their favorite color, right? Pleasing other people. And we'll talk about that today as well. The disease to please. And so when I did the little flow chart with her and said, get curious about your thoughts. Why are you choosing that color versus this color? Why is that back and forth with you? She realized it was because of other people, what their opinions were allowing, were weighing in on her thought process. And she decided, okay, well, that's simple. I'll just go with this color, right? Get curious about why you're thinking those thoughts. And instead of admonishing yourself, right? Instead of belittling yourself or talking down to yourself, ask yourself why you're having those thoughts. And then, and here's something one of my other coaches taught me a long time ago. Talk to yourself and say, isn't that the cutest little thing? Oh, isn't that funny? Right? Here comes indecision Ingrid coming along to say, well, maybe you should choose that one, but maybe you should choose that. Isn't that funny? Isn't that interesting that I do that to myself? Instead of using that energy and talking down to yourself, making yourself feel bad for just thinking something, right? Get curious about it. Why am I thinking that thought? And isn't that funny that I think that thought? If you can start thinking about thoughts as it is what it is, there's no good, there's no bad. It's just there. I'm a person who has a difficult time making a decision. Okay, that's neither good nor bad. Perhaps in the past that has saved you from going down the wrong path because you were thinking and making decisions too quickly. Right? So remove the opinion that it's good or bad and just get curious about it. And then have some fun with it. Well, isn't that funny? That's interesting. Isn't that the cutest little thing? Right? And release it. Okay. Number 2, get curious about other things. Actually, this is 1B. We'll call this 1B. Get curious about other things. Stay curious. I remember when my son was younger and he was, I don't know, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. And he said, oh, I can hardly wait till I'm out of school so I don't have to learn anything anymore. And I said, well, I hate to tell you this, buddy, but you're always going to be learning things. And that's great. Your dad and I wake up every day and we're always curious about something. We're always reading something. We're always discussing something. And one of the most powerful things that you can do is to entertain someone else's opinion, right? We've especially recently become this culture of, if you don't agree with me, I don't like you. If you don't agree with me, you're wrong, I'm right. If we can just stay curious about, That's an interesting thought. I hadn't thought of it that way before. Again, no judgment, not good, not bad, just different, right? So if you can get curious about other things as well, technologies, if you can go on and watch a TED talk and get curious about how other people approach things. I have learned so many things by just getting curious and staying curious about other coaches and other books and other programs and other approaches to life, right? So get curious about yourself and about other things. Number two, you guys, this is my favorite. This is my favorite topic ever. Establishing boundaries. Now, here's the thing, and I go into great lengths with I talk about this with my clients, but a lot of people look at boundaries and think that's a fence. That if you're throwing up a boundary, you're creating a separation between you and another person. And people don't want to do that, right? They want to feel close to people. A boundary is not that at all. A boundary, if you can think about it, is like when you have a house and you have a front yard and there's the road, and then across the street is your neighbor with their front yard and their house. That boundary is the road. It's not saying you can't cross that road. It's not saying you can't go over and tell your neighbor, hey, come on over and have some lemonade with me, right? That's not what the boundary is. A boundary is a clear agreement about what you will and you won't put up with in your life. That's all. That's all a boundary is. It's saying, this is how I keep my yard. And I'm not saying you have to keep your yard the same way, right? When you establish boundaries, you have to give up a little bit of control over the other person. That's another thing that I've learned in my life that's been really helpful. Stop controlling other people. We'll talk about that in a minute. But a boundary is simply saying, this is what I have control over, myself, my thoughts, and this is what I will and I won't put up with in my life. Again, it's not controlling you. You're allowed to do whatever you want to. It's not an ultimatum. It's not saying, if you continue to do this, then I'm going to do this, right? It's not saying, do this or else, right? A boundary is simply saying, this is what I feel comfortable with. And if this behavior continues, then I have the choice and the control of removing myself from that situation. It's a feeling of not having to justify everything that you do. It's a feeling of not having to please everybody anymore. Right? I am a recovering people pleaser. I was suffering from that disease to please, which is called codependency. Again, something I discuss with my clients at great length. But there's a lot of codependency in terms of boundaries and not having any in the first place, because you feel that another myth around boundaries is that you will make people angry. Perhaps you will. Not the right people. The right people won't be angry that you're establishing boundaries. Here is one of my favorite quotes of all time. If you spent any time with me whatsoever, you've heard me say this numerous times. The only people that will have a problem with you establishing boundaries are the ones who benefited from you not having any in the first place. I will say that again. The only people who will have a problem with you establishing boundaries are the ones who benefited from you not having any in the first place. So when you establish boundaries, you will get some pushback because you're interrupting the status quo. That's not how it's always been. What do you mean? You're changing things up. People don't like change. It's not comfortable. So when you start to establish boundaries, you may have people that are angry at you, but that's okay. That helps you delineate from the people that you want in your life and the people that you don't want in your life, right? They're allowed to push back because you're changing things up, right? What they're not allowed to do is tell you that you don't have the right to have boundaries. So one of the things, and I'm so excited about this, you guys, I just finished this. It's a script about how to say no nicely, because here's what I know. A lot of times we know that we want to say no. We know we should be saying no, but we can't say no because we don't want to come across as a jerk. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. Well, you can say no and establish boundaries without having to feel like a jerk. And so I put together a little a script of different scenarios of different things that you can say no to, right? Different places you can establish boundaries, and different people that you can establish boundaries with. So if you are interested in that, it's completely free. Drop the word script down below. Script. It's a game changer, I promise. Number 3, protect your energy. Oh my gosh, you guys. Hi, Delaram. It's so nice to see you here. Mwah. Lovely to see you. Happy New Year. A little belated, but nonetheless. So one of the things I know is that you are a human being with a finite amount of energy. right? That means a fixed amount of energy. That's why we have to sleep 8 hours every night. You can't keep going, going, going. So really decide how you're going to use your energy. Are you going to use your energy worrying about things that you can't control? And we're going to talk about that in a minute with superpower number 5. But are you willing to use your time on things that you can't control? So here's a good litmus test. When I get angry about something, when I'm ruminating about something, first of all, I think, can I control it? If I can't control it, I let it go. I'm sitting in traffic, I'm getting angry. Can I control traffic? No, absolutely not. Right? I protect my energy. I protect how I'm going to use my energy throughout the day. If it's not something I can control, I let it go. I use my energy for good, right? And then I ask myself, is it something I should be trying to control? And if it's not something I should be trying to control, right? Example, someone else's feelings, someone else's energy, someone else's demands, then I let it go, right? I watch how I use my energy. That goes back to number 1 when we talked about getting curious and how you talk to yourself. Use your energy to get curious about yourself and think, isn't that the funniest little thing? I wonder why I do that. As opposed to using your energy to belittle yourself and talk down to yourself and tell yourself how wrong you are. Protect your energy. I also protect my energy when it comes to people, right? And how I spend my time with people and who I spend my time with. I don't spend my time with people that are energy suckers because I'm protecting my energy. I will also protect my energy in terms of how I use it. I don't watch news, right? Because I want to protect my energy. I have a finite amount of energy and I want to protect how I'm using it. Do I want to waste time spending it on hearing the horrible things that go on in the world? Or do I want to turn on a TED Talk and listen to how I can become enlightened, or listen to how I can become, learn someone else's opinion of something, right? Or learn how I can better myself. That's how I want to use my energy. That's why I protect my energy. And I don't let people suck my energy. This goes back to boundaries, right? When you have boundaries, you protect yourself against those people that are energy suckers, and you can cut them out of your life. I promise, right? Scripts, write the word scripts down below and I'll teach you how to do that. Number 4, letting go of the outcome. Letting go of the outcome and establishing boundaries are 2 of the things that dramatically changed my life. Here's the thing. When we try to control the outcome of something, you'll fail. Take your ego out of it. You can't control the outcome, right? You can have an intent and a plan, but you can't control the outcome. I can control how much energy I put into my business. I can control the offers that I make in my business. I can control the people that I allow into and keep out of my business, right? But at the end of the day, I can't control whether or not you purchase a program, whether or not you watch my lives, whether or not you have a good opinion of me or a bad opinion of me. I can't control any of that stuff. So I let go of the outcome because that's not how I want to spend my energy. I don't walk through life easy peasy with no plan and no intent. That's not what I'm saying, right? Control what you can and drop the rest. There's a little bit of ego involved with trying to control the outcome because we actually think we can, and you cannot, right? So let go of controlling the outcome. The other way trying to control the outcome stops us is it stops us from even getting started in the first place. Let me know if this sounds familiar down below. You don't want to hit go live on Facebook Live because you're afraid of what people will say. Okay, that's the outcome, right? We don't start because we are afraid of how it will end. We don't go up in front of people and talk live to people because we're afraid we'll make a fool out of ourselves. People will laugh at us. We'll drop our notes, right? Let go of the outcome. Have a plan, have an intent, let go of the outcome. We have this discussion, imaginary usually, with our spouses, with our clients, with our kids, right? Tell me if you think this sounds familiar. Well, I don't want to discuss that with him because if I say that, then he's going to say this, and then I'm going to say that, and then we're going to get upset. And meanwhile, look around you. You're talking to an empty room, and yet you're deciding not to have a conversation based on what you think the outcome will be, right? Let go of the outcome. I'm not going to pick up the phone to call a client because I'm afraid they'll say no. I'm afraid they'll think I'm too pushy. Have they told you that? Have you ever called a client and had them say, "Stop calling me. You are so pushy"? No, but this is what our mind does. So here's a little secret I want to tell you guys about. I want to tell you guys about your brain and how we think that it's evolved so much and it hasn't evolved that much. Our brain was designed to keep us safe. It was designed to identify a threat, like a saber-toothed tiger, and run. That's what our brain was designed to do. And it's great. It's kept us safe all these years, right? But your brain hasn't evolved. The part that keeps you safe has not evolved that much from those days of saber-toothed tigers. So when you're wanting to go live on Facebook, or when you're wanting to go out and talk to people, or when you're wanting to go and pick up the phone and talk to a client, your brain is going to say, no, 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 no. Look what could happen. They could think you're pushy. You could drop your notes. People will laugh at you. People will, oh my gosh, dreadfully tell you no. Right. And I don't want that to happen to you. I love you. I want to keep you safe. It's so much safer here, not picking up the phone, not hitting live on Facebook, not going out in front of people and talking. I want to keep you safe. So that's why your brain tells you those things. That's why your brain makes up all these scenarios and these stories, because it's clamoring and it's fighting to do whatever it can to keep you safe. So when those feelings come up, if you can talk to yourself, again, I do a whole lot of talking to myself, right? Confront that feeling. You know what? I appreciate that you're trying to keep me safe, but you know what? I got this. I got this. Fear will never go away. And I don't tell you that to make you sad or depressed. I tell you that because when you can realize that you'll always have the fear, right? That's what keeps us from getting eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, but that you can control the fear, that is life-changing. When you let go of the outcome and don't worry about that and tell your fear, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm letting go of the outcome. It's not up to me what's going to happen anyways. I have a plan, I have an intent, I let go of the outcome. When you can get to that point, it opens up for you. Everything opens up for you. You become bulletproof. You have bulletproof confidence because you're letting go of the outcome. Right. And again, the secret is you don't have any control over it anyways. I know that might be a little shot to your ego, but that's the truth. Right. And then number 5, I love this one, simplify to amplify. I saw this on this meme on someone's Facebook years ago, and I love this. Simplify to amplify. I think I was listening to Amber McHugh, or maybe it was Amy Porterfield. It was another coach. Again, I was getting curious, right? I love to listen to things and feed my brain all the time with things. And I was listening to her, and she was talking about the difference between, on your hose, your garden hose, you have the little nozzle, and you can click and it gives different settings, right, to the nozzle. And the difference between a mister, we've all used that mister when we're watering very fragile plants, versus the jet. The jet you turn on when you want to get dirt off your deck. So when you are creating a ton of offerings in your program, when you are trying to be everything to everybody in your business, you are using the mister. You're touching on everything. You're getting everything a little day up, but you're not really saturating anything. Versus if you use the jet setting and you focus on 1 or 2 programs in your business and you really narrow down who your client is, right? That's using the jet. You are soaking those things. You are going after those things. We have been taught in our culture that we are supposed to be everything to everybody because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. Because if you hustle and grind enough, you can be everything to everybody. No, that's not what we're designed to do. And trust me, this is the difference between a scarcity mentality and an abundant mentality. A lot of times we try to be everything to everybody because A, we have that disease to please. We don't want to tell people no, right? And B, we think that if we tell this client no, there won't be another client. If we tell this client no, it's going to get around that we're difficult to work with. And that's not the case at all, because you're serving no one at the highest level when you're doing that. When you're using the Mr. setting, right? And you're trying to be everything to everybody. When you can dial down, right? And I've heard this before. Let me think about if I can remember what the saying is. I remember niche is rich. Niche is rich. Broad is broke. That's how it goes. when you're trying to narrow down your clients, right? Who you're targeting in your business. When you go wide, broad is broke, right? Broad is the Mr. System, trying to encompass everybody. But when you can narrow it down to exactly who you're serving, say no to the people that are not your ideal client, right? The more you say no in one area, the more you can say yes in the right areas. Time spent in one area is time taken away from other areas. Remember, that goes back to that energy and that finite amount of energy that you have as a human being. You cannot spend all your time trying to please everybody. And here's the thing. When you simplify to amplify and you establish boundaries and you let go of the outcome, and you get curious about yourself, right? And you protect your energy, these 5 superpowers that I've culminated over the years, that allows you to get really dialed in and create a life on purpose, right? When you're trying to say yes to everybody and you don't have any boundaries, right? You become resentful. People call me at all hours of the day. Well, stop answering your phone, right? I'm not making any money because I keep discounting my products. Well, stop discounting your products, right? We cannot continue to get mad at the people that suck us dry if we keep handing them the straw. I'll say it again. You cannot keep getting mad at people that keep, take when all you do is give, right? That's the law of push and pull. So, that was a good rant today, you guys. I hope you were able to get something out of that. Again, number 1, get curious about yourself and about others. It is what it is. No bad, no good, no judgment. Just get curious. That's interesting. I wonder why that happens. Number 2, establish boundaries. Boundaries are so beautiful. The other thing boundaries allows you to do is manage expectations, right? When you share your boundaries, right? You have them, you establish them, and then you share them with other people. There's no surprises. That's the other beauty of it. There's no surprises, right? It's called managing expectations. Number 3, protect your energy. I always think of my life as a little force field, and a boundary and protecting my energy, right, tells me that I am worthy of allowing certain people and certain things into my life. And here's the secret. You are too. You are worthy of that. You're worthy of establishing boundaries and protecting your energy. Number 4, letting go of the outcome. Letting go of the outcome. It is so freeing when you don't feel like you have to control everything, and you can't anyways. Number 5, simplify to amplify. Love this one. Simplify to amplify. Stop the hustle and grind culture and mentality. Stop, right? When you can create your days and you're working from overflow, right, versus overwhelm, makes a huge difference to you, to your clients, to your family, right? So again, if you're interested in that script on how to say no nicely, hit me up down below. Just write the word scripts. I'd love to send that out to you free of charge. And if any of this resonated for you, I am working on a program that I'm really excited to talk to you about. Not today, but it's coming, just to let you know. This is Coming Attractions, and I will be sharing more details on that down below. And please share with me down below what you got out of this. If there was something like, oh, I'm really struggling with that, or this was an aha, something you hadn't heard, something that you're trying to practice but struggling with, let me know down below. I love this community of women, and I'm so excited for what's going on in your life, and I'd love to share. I'd love to know what's going on. So anyways, again, Heather Morrison, Bold Beyond Belief. Thank you for spending this 24 minutes with me. Talk to you later. Bye.